number one, be real. Number two, don't give up. And number three, write a plan. Like write down what you want. Who am I? So I'm 35 years old, born in Madrid, traveled a lot. Kind of a disruptive child. I didn't do very well at school. I got kicked out of one, dropped out of university. And actually what I tended to find was actually that's kind of what shaped me through life. And actually the experiences that I had, I ended up using in a lot of what I do today. Essentially, what I do for a living is concept development, okay? And when I say concept development, not necessarily in the ways that you normally think, but essentially what I do is social UX. I'm an emotional conductor for people's lives, okay? In their social lives, in various different aspects in what they do. And I do that by understanding people and mapping out the way that people work. Whether this is in a product or an experience. So I have two main businesses and one side business. One of my businesses is Destructive Lines. So Destructive Lines, in the words of the people that work within it, is a cooperative of geeks, okay? So we are a cooperative of geeks and slightly against the grain in what most agencies are. We work in kind of three distinct areas. So we work in asset creation. So we design and build assets for predominantly in the drinks industry. So this might be a fully automated whiskey and soda vending machine that does everything, including pouring out chilled carbonated soda and a slice of lemon juice, which is a kind of a group effort from a computer programmer all the way through to a specialist carpenter. We deal in venues. I have two bars myself, 9 Lives in London Bridge and the Gunmakers in Clerkenwell, and we design various different venues for different people. So everything from resort bars through to hotels. And then we do a lot of activations, so activations for brands where we're looking to effectively socially sculpt an environment for a consumer to create an experience which someone is going to walk away and remember. My other business is Ace+Freak. So Ace+Freak is just a really tasty drink in a can, okay? Myself and my co-founders are very, very passionate music people, and what we found was that when we were out and listening to music, the offer that we had available to us was very, very poor. It was full of synthetic ingredients, it was full of processed sugars, and what we wanted to do was to change this. No one else was doing this, so we decided to do it ourselves. This is the culmination of 6 people's absolute passion, from UX design through to the actual physical design through to the brand itself. The question is, how did I get here? Well, number one, I'm not going to kid you, it's a lot of work. And when I say a lot of work, I'm talking sometimes 90 to 100-hour weeks. Prior to setting up these two companies, I was consultancy director of another company, Sweet&Chilli, where I was averaging around 90 hours a week. And I think that's kind of a really key thing to understand is that you do need to crawl through the mud in order to get to the flowers at the end. The key thing about how I got here was constantly learning, and learning from every single experience that I ever had, and whether I wanted to do a job or not. I've talked to so many different people during my life and during my career, and I think often, you talk to some actors, and the greatest information that they ever gained as an actor was when they were working as a waiter or a waitress, etc. So that was a really, really key thing. So how did I do it? Once again, I think the real key thing about how I did do it was just this perseverance. If you work hard and you are good to those people that you're around, and to constantly look at everything in a positive angle, you are going to move yourselves forward. So I think what I've done is I've put down the key things that I believe really make a difference when you guys are starting out a business. The first one seems kind of in contrast with each other. Number one is think more. And the second part is do more. What I mean by think more is when you first set up your business, the thing that you really have once you've jumped that ship and you actually are not on a salaried paycheck anymore is that you must fill every single hour of every single day with work. And that isn't true, because actually one of the most important things that I am finding continuously is that actually those moments of distraction and those moments when you can take a step away and actually look at problems with perspective are absolutely critical. And actually ensuring that you do retain moments for you to think, whether that is walking through an art gallery, whether it's through painting, or whether it's through going rock climbing or something like that. But actually having those moments of distraction which can allow you to do that. And I think when I say think more, get rid of this, okay? When I work, I do not pick up my phone. Well, that was quite a big pick, wasn't it? I don't pick up my phone for hours. And what I'll do is I'll actually block that out, and I'll purposefully do that. You know, and I think that's a really, really key thing, allowing yourself the space to think, because your natural reaction is, I must fill every single minute of every single day. And the second is to do more. And what I mean by do more is, I don't mean physically do more, but I mean, you know, through this thinking process, I think one of the things that people often disregard is that when they move into a business, they do not look at it as a business. And by going that little bit extra to get someone's attention, I think is a critical thing. And I mean, you know, I think when you move into a business, you need to look at it literally as a business. Yes, you want to be a graphic designer, but what is going to make you stand out? What can you do more than someone else? And that's why these two are linked together, because actually you can't get to that point to outthink your competition if you are constantly running around and hustling, okay? And I think the benefit that I had coming up through the ranks, you know, working within hospitality, working as a bartender, the first business that I really kind of owned that had consequences was a bar. And when I had a bar, the first thing I had to do is I had to look at my local competition and see, what are they doing and how do I fit into this and how can I be better than them? So the next one is be nice to everyone. Be nice to absolutely everyone. Be nice to the Uber driver. Be nice to the guy on the door. Be nice to the person behind the bar. Be nice to the person that you see walking down the street. Be nice to everyone, because number one, you don't know who they are. Number two, you don't know who is watching you. Okay, and number three, you don't know who that person will be. When I look at my client base, specifically within Destructive Lines, I can trace that back sometimes up to 8 years, okay? Because I can trace literally a family tree of my customers that I've worked with, and your network within this creative industry is indispensable. You know, when you look at areas like film and television, and you look at the people that are behind the camera, it is all done through network. You know, I work on magazines as a consultant, and that whole area is all done through network, okay? And if you're a nice person, people like to work with nice people. And the last piece is details count. Now, what do I mean by details? I mean that there is a detail in everything that you do. Now, if you're going in to do a presentation to a client, I learned this from my old business partner. One of the things that he would always do, every time he went in to have a business meeting with a client, he would bring grapes from the market. He would bring them snacks. He would put it onto the table. His constant focus was to make his customer feel good about themselves. Okay, he would compliment them. He'd be really nice to them. That sort of details. Your timekeeping, that is a small detail which is critical. Arrive 15 minutes plus before your presentation, because if you're running through the tube station in order to get to your customer at the end, and you don't have that time to take a moment and to sit down and to think about what you're about to do, and actually, number one, just relax, then you're going to walk into that presentation really rushed and actually not really bring that across. So you've got yourself. How do you look after yourself? One thing that I used to do when I first started out in this industry was, with my own business, was that I actually used to go to the bathroom and I used to listen to music to kind of hype myself up. I'm actually quite a shy person. And I actually started working within hospitality to get over that. And actually, I think everyone, when you start out and you set up your own business, you feel exposed because you're bearing your heart on the line. This is you. If they turn around and they say, no, that's not like, no, you don't like my agency, and you can blame your boss because it was his idea in the first place. This is you. This is purely you, and it's quite a raw experience. So utilizing those tools such as music in order to bolster yourself is really, really key. And then likewise, in terms of the way that you present, the amount of large agencies, creative agencies that I have seen that have produced the worst presentations in the world. I'm no graphic designer, as I said. I do concepts, and I would always spend a lot of time making sure that I actually had the details right. Having those little details really, really counts, okay? And actually just thinking about how can you make yourself be memorable to other people is really, really key. And I think overall is one other little bit I would say is overall, number one, be real. Number two, don't give up. And number three, write a plan. Like write down what you want. You know, in 1 year's time, in 3 years' time, and in 5 years' time, in detail. What do you want? And actually, I missed that on that. That was the first thing that I did when I set up my first business, which was on a Dell laptop. I bought from eBay for £100, was I wrote a very detailed goal of where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, and I followed that.
Include my key definition, my personal definition of what it is to be successful, which is doing what you love. And if I could title my talk anything today, it would be The Pursuit of Doing What You Love.